Testing 1, 2, 3, and 4. Testing, testing.
Testing, testing. Good evening, everyone. Our event will start very soon. Please be seated. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be starting in 2 minutes. Please be seated. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Please be seated. We are about to start the event tonight. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm welcome to this evening's event, co-organized by the Institute of Sea Transport and the Nautical Institute. Thank you for making time on your Friday evening. We hope that you have met some friends on your way in and also grabbed a couple of drinks to start off the weekend. I'm Catherine, your MC for this evening. Before we start, can we have a round of applause for our organizers, generous sponsors, and supportive partners, please? Thank you. Without further ado, let's welcome our chairman for the welcoming remarks, Dr. Kaushik Roy of the Nautical Institute, please.
Mr. Yao, Captain Lam, distinguished guests, and all attendees, good evening. On behalf of the organizing committee, it's my pleasure and great honor and privilege to welcome you all to this event. And this event is also broadcasted live. So also who are online, welcome to this event. This joint effort between the Nautical Institute Hong Kong branch and the Institute of Sea Transport reflects our concerns about geopolitics, shipping, and seafarers. The Nautical Institute is a charitable organization headquartered in London. We have over 50 branches worldwide and nearly 15,000 members worldwide. The Nautical Institute Hong Kong branch is the first overseas branch and established in 1984. The Nautical Institute membership is available to cater to all maritime professionals. We provide a free student membership as well. So geopolitics is a hot topic in today's world, particularly in shipping businesses, and our panels will have in-depth discussions about it. It's a coincidence that while we will be discussing geopolitical and shipping issues here, the world's top two influential leaders have also met face to face today, very close to us, to discuss the same. Even the BRICS summit is concluding today in New Delhi. Over the course of this event, we'll have the opportunity to ask questions, exchange ideas, strengthen relationships, and explore practical solutions that will benefit not just our organizations, but the broader maritime community. We understand that geography shapes power, and power shapes trade routes. Strategic waterways like Strait of Hormuz, Suez Canal, Panama Canal, South China Sea, and even Northern Sea Route all are not just shipping lanes, they are geopolitical hotspots. Whoever controls or influences these choke points has a significant advantage in global trade. In recent years, we have also seen how political conflicts directly affect shipping. Trade disputes, such as tariff wars between major economies, shifted trade routes and reduced cargo volumes. Sanctions imposed on countries restricted shipping access to ports, affecting both global and local economies. Geopolitics is also reshaping the shipping routes due to climate change. The melting Arctic ice is opening new passages, such as Northern Sea Route, along Russia's coast. While this route can reduce travel time between Europe and Asia, it also reduces new geopolitical dynamics. Another key dimension is supply chain security. Even like the COVID-19 pandemic showed how global shipping is vulnerable to disruptions. Port closures, labor shortages, and changing government policies had ripple effects worldwide. Technology and regulations are also influenced by geopolitics. Environmental rules, such as emissions regulations, vary across regions, are often shaped by international agreements and political priorities. So, what does all this mean? It means that shipping is no longer just about moving goods from A to B. It is about navigating seascapes of geopolitics, strategic interests, and global risks and opportunities. So, for policymakers, the challenge is to ensure safe and open sea lanes while managing the political tensions. For businesses, the key is resilience and sustainability, building supply chains that can adapt to geopolitical shifts and create a sustainable future. In conclusion, geopolitics and shipping are inseparable. The oceans may seem vast and open, but they are shaped by invisible lines of influence, power, and competitions. Understanding this relationship helps us better prepare for disruptions, seize opportunity, and ensure the continued flow of global trade that supports our modern life. Finally, I would like to extend my sincere appreciation to all the organizers, partners, sponsors, and participants whose dedication and hard work have made this event possible. Your commitment is a clear demonstration of the importance we place on shipping, collaboration, and progress. As we officially begin this event, let us approach our discussions with openness, professionalism, and a shared vision for excellence in the maritime sector. Together, let us chart a course towards stronger partnerships and a safer maritime future. Thank you, and I wish everyone a productive and successful event.
Thank you, Dr. Roy. And next, can we have Mr. Brian Yam of the Institute of Sea Transport, please? Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Yao, Honorable Captain Lam, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Tonight marks a very special occasion because it is the first ever joint flagship event between the Nautical Institute of Hong Kong branch and the Institute of Sea Transport. It is a milestone that brings together the two organizations with complementary strengths and traditions. The composition of our institutes reflects the diversity. So NIHK's memberships is largely made up of ex-mariners, so majority are deck officers, and those who bring their invaluable seafaring experience to us. So on the other hand, the Institute of Sea Transport spans the full spectrum of the maritime professions, from lawyers, adjusters, or even class societies. And so, but let us not to forget those two founders of the Institute of Sea Transport 40 years ago. So they were extra masters. So which is a qualification so rare that only 3 Chinese have ever attained it. So together, this mix of people ensures that our dialogues will be rich and multifaceted. So our theme tonight is navigating geopolitical seascape. So it is timely. So despite the theme or despite the word contains politics, but we are not touching upon the sensitive politics. Instead, we are just touching on how the industry adapts constantly shifting landscape, and also how the maritime community demonstrates the agility and also the resilience. So just this afternoon, I attended a seminar organized by the Lloyd's List in the Mariners. So I remember the host remark, what happened in Hormuz does not stay in Hormuz. So that phrase captures the ripple effects of the geopolitical events. So a blockade in one region can affect lives far, far away. So even something very trivial, like packaging of potato chips of Calbee, it becomes black and white now because there's a shortage of naphtha, which is an important ingredient of the ink. So these examples remind us that geopolitics touch every corner of our daily life. So the geopolitics also brings uncertainty. And because of our VVIP coming to China, so there's a lot of the traffic control, which consequently, one of our panelists couldn't make his flight back to Hong Kong. So this is geopolitics. And geopolitics brings conflicts and also push up the inflation. So in a way, it widened the income disparity and created new challenges for children from the underprivileged families. As an institute, so we believe it is important to respond not only as professionals, but also a member of the society. So recently, the institute participated in a career program, so organized by the Child Development Initiative Alliance, CDIA, so which helps the teenagers from the disadvantaged backgrounds to broaden their horizons and discover the career pathway. So we believe the shipping could be a powerful avenue for the upward mobility, offering the young people opportunities to grow, to travel, and to contribute to the global economy. So I'm delighted that CDIA's founder, Amy, so where's Amy? Oh, Amy is there. So Amy is here with us tonight. So if your company can provide the learning experience to the teenagers, I encourage you to reach out to her. Together, we can make a meaningful difference. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for joining us. I look forward to an engaging discussion that will not only shed the light on the challenges that we face, but also highlight the resilience and adaptability that defined our maritime community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Yam. Now, may we welcome our guest of honor, Permanent Secretary for Transport and Logistics of the HKSAR, Mr. Vic Yao, for his keynote speech. Mr. Lau, please.
Dr. Roy, Mr. Yam, the Honorable Captain Lam, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great pleasure to join you this evening. We are gathering at a moment when the maritime industry is navigating far more than just the physical current of the ocean. We are navigating the constantly changing global geopolitical landscape, or seascape. The theme of today's dialogue, geopolitics, is not just a distant, high-level subject reserved for politicians or academics or think tanks. From the US tariff threat to the ongoing Middle East crisis, we are witnessing a fundamental reshaping of the global trade and maritime landscape. Now, these forces are beyond the control of any single carrier or any single port or any single economy. Yet they are redefining the risks and the environment within which we are operating every day. We are no longer just managing ships or cargoes. We are managing uncertainties. For the professionals and industry leaders in this room, the critical question today is not just how to adapt to these changes, but where to find the institutional stability necessary to weather them. This is where Hong Kong becomes particularly relevant. As always, Hong Kong offers a stable, predictable, and reliable business environment. Our bilingual common law system, our independent judiciary, our vibrant and stable business environment, our status as a free port, They are not just features, they are our primary defense against global volatility. In this city, capital moves without friction, government policies are clear and consistent, and we provide a safe, secure, free, and open environment for international businesses. Importantly, we serve as the vital bridge to Chinese mainland market, one of the world's most significant and positive drivers of maritime and economic development. Simply put, Hong Kong provides the predictability that global business need, especially at this critical moment of changes and uncertainties. Now, looking ahead, Hong Kong government's focus is clear, and that is to ensure that Hong Kong remains a strategic facilitator for the industry, building the necessary infrastructure to mitigate the impact of global political changes on the trade. In a world of tightening regulations and regional tensions, efficiency and flexibility become the ultimate competitive advantages. This is why we are strengthening our facilitation measures on multiple fronts. For example, we are enhancing our digital infrastructure through the port community system. Launched earlier this year, this digital platform serves to consolidate logistic data and advance our smart port development, ensuring that data moves as efficiently as our cargoes. By providing real-time cargo tracking and functions such as one data, multiple declarations, this system offers supply chain visibility and enhances efficiency in trade and logistic flows amidst external disruptions. And at the same time, we are driving the development of Hong Kong into a green maritime fuel bunkering hub, focusing on sustainable green fuels such as LNG and green methanol to help the industry meet the global decarbonization goals. We will also revamp our ship registration regime, including introducing the dual flag registration arrangement to cater for the different business models of international maritime enterprises operating in different jurisdictions. We are also actively nurturing our maritime ecosystem. A key part of this strategy is to promote the development of a vibrant commodity trading sector. For this, the government will introduce a half-rate profit tax concession at just 8.25% for qualifying commodity traders. By attracting more commodity traders to Hong Kong, we believe that we can create a stronger, more diverse environment that generates steady demand for our high value-added maritime and professional services, making our entire industry better equipped to withstand external shocks. Complementing these measures, Hong Kong is also addressing the increasing complexity and uncertainties of the global maritime landscape on the insurance front. Our insurance sector has continued to evolve to provide even greater layers of protection. A key milestone is the official launch of the Hong Kong Marine War Risks Insurance Pool just last November. Backed by 5 leading insurers, the pool provides up to $130 million in coverage for Hong Kong and Chinese mainland ship owners against war and emergency risks, serving as a strategic local insurance alternative to the traditional Western markets. These are all the strategic steps that we are taking to ensure that Hong Kong remains an efficient one-stop platform that global community can rely on. Ladies and gentlemen, as the maritime community knows very well, while we cannot change the wind we can adjust our sails. And so it is for Hong Kong. With determination, openness, flexibility, and resilience, we'll continue to move forward. I would like to thank the Nautical Institute Hong Kong branch and the Institute of Sea Transport for organizing this very meaningful event and for providing such a valuable platform for ideas exchange. I wish the event a big success. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Mr. Yao. Let's now welcome our next guest of honor, member of the Legislative Council for the Functional Constituency of Transport, Captain Lothar Lam, for the opening remarks. Captain Lam, please.
Wait. Right. Brian. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Before I start my speech, I would like to say, apart from my role of a LegCo member, actually I was the ex-chairman of Institute of Sea Transport last year, and I also the executive member of Nautical Institute Hong Kong branch many years ago. I can't remember which year. So I feel I come back home. Yeah. When I was invited to join this event a couple of months ago, I thought to myself, what a timely gathering for a well in constant flows. Back then, tensions in the Middle East were already escalating, with the Strait of Hormuz increasingly unstable, sending ripples of uncertainty through global shipping. Today, those risks remain even present, and we still lack a crystal ball to see exactly how these geopolitical storms will play out. While no one can predict the future, forums like this give us something far more valuable, a chance to come together, share insights, and build strategies to safeguard our industry interests. For that, I thank the organizer for their foresight and dedication in bringing us all here tonight. Although today's seminar will examine this challenge from many angles, a vital exercise because none of us holds all the answers. As an old Chinese saying goes, stones from other mountains can polish jade. Tonight, we draw on the expertise of our speakers, panelists, and fellow professionals to refine our own understanding, so we can navigate uncertainty with greater clarity. Since joining the Legislative Council, my work has expanded beyond technical maritime matters to include the broader interests of our community. I have learned that while technical challenges often follow long rules, human affairs, and by extension, geopolitics are far more complex and unpredictable. We still don't know when stability will return to the Strait of Hormuz, how oil price will settle, or how these shifts will reshape maritime operations. Change is inevitable, and we do not fear it if we can manage it. Today, the ability to manage uncertainty is the core skill every maritime professional needs, no matter what their field. AI can support our decision, but the final call and the responsibility to make the right call remains ours. I look forward to tonight's discussions, and I am confident they will leave us all better equipped to make those right decisions. Thank you once again, and enjoy the evening.
Thank you, Captain Lam. Can you please stay on stage for photo taking? Sorry. And then maybe also invite Mr. Vic Yao and both chairmen onto the stage for a photo, please. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. Please be seated. Now, let's move on to our exciting panel discussion. Please give a round of applause to welcome them onto the stage. I'll now pass it to the moderator, Mr. Jack Mead Makar. Jack Mead, please.
Very good evening, everyone, and welcome to this absolutely fantastic event. So by the time we have the chairs which are being brought to the stage, let me quickly mention who our panelists are going to be. Captain Neeraj Nanda is the Chief Commercial Officer, Anglo-Eastern, Master Mariner turned Shore Executive, driving strategy for 700 plus vessels. Can we give him a round of applause, please? Captain Chen Jiangzheng, my apologies if my pronunciation is not so good. Moisia. All right. He's the Commercial Director, Wakwong Maritime. He's going to present us the ship owner's perspective, dry bulk shipping. Then we have Ms. Malin Wong, Managing Director, Guard Hong Kong. She's a defense lawyer, formerly a programmer in investment banking. What a combination. Can we give her a big round of applause? Then we have Mr. Lianjun Lee. I actually always call him my teacher, Oge Laoshe. So he's always been Watashi no sensei desu, all right? He's absolutely amazing teacher. Senior partner Reed Smith, leading lawyer in Hong Kong shipping shipping litigation, arbitration and sanctions. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the panelists. And please join us. So if you can sit in the same sequence, Mr. J.J. Wong, he's still on his way. So the flight, as Brian mentioned, is a bit delayed. So he'll join whenever he can. So let me just set the scene in 60 seconds. If it is more than that, you don't have to pay me my fee for today's moderation. All right. So the Strait of Hormuz, once the artery of over 80% of Asia's energy, is now effectively blocked. Iran charges $2 million per vessel. Insurance premiums have soared. Some voyages are uninsurable. The US has stepped back as the guarantor of open seas. By the way, how many people know that US is not a signatory nor has it ratified UNCLOS, Law of the Sea? No, they haven't. What about Iran? Are they the signatory to UNCLOS? Yes. But have they ratified? No. So this is one question I asked in that earlier. Today we had the Lloyd's list, this thing. So how does that affect the illegality and the legality of the choking? I didn't get an answer. All right. So the US has stepped back as the guarantor of open seas, and Europe, Canada, and Asian allies are scrambling to diversify. For shipping, this is not a headline. It is a daily reality. Rerouted vessels, force majeure claims, stranded crews, and a shifting legal landscape, Seascape. Beneath it all, China is quietly reshaping global trade routes through green technology and alternate energy. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me start with Captain Neeraj Nanda. You manage over 700 vessels. When a major choke point closes, you decide, you reroute. delay, or cancel? How are you making those calls in real time? And just the second thought in mind, geopolitical risk now feels persistent. What does resilience look like in real practice across a fleet of your size? Take your time, Captain Nanda. I give you 8 minutes.
Wow. I haven't spoken for 8 minutes. I'm a married man, so I'm not allowed to speak for that long, but I'll try. Thank you, Jagmeet, for the very kind
Same
introduction.
story everywhere.
Thank you for the kind introduction, Jagmeet, and the very, very profound opening question. Um, Let me start by saying that we used to plan voyages around economics and weather. Today, we plan them around geopolitics. So that's how shipping has transformed. In terms of your first question about choke points, so we've seen quite a few in the last years: Black Sea, Red Sea, of course, Strait of Hormuz, which is current and ongoing. Whenever a situation like this escalates or there's a choke point blockage, of course, there are decisions to be made. But we do not make those decisions alone or in isolation. The reality is, it's not only just an operational decision, it is also a commercial decision. It's a decision about the welfare of the crew and their safety. It's also a growingly reputational decision these days. And all of these things are happening simultaneously and under time pressure. Just to give you context, at Anglo Eastern, we have on any given day between 30 to 50 ships in a high risk or a war risk area with about 1,000 seafaring colleagues on board and a responsibility of assets and cargo to the tune of $5 billion. That's the exposure that we live with. So for us, geopolitical risk is not abstract, is not theoretical. It's an actual daily operational condition of our decision making. Whenever there is a situation which needs to be addressed in an escalation, the first thing that you're not looking for is a decision. The first kickoff is information gathering. It's about asking the questions: what do we know versus what we are hearing? Cut the noise from the signal. The second most important question perhaps is, how does this affect us? How many of our ships are in this place, will be in this place in the next 24, 48, 72 hours? How do we deal with that? It's not about current, it's also about the practicalities of what's coming in just because of the size of our fleet. And also one important consideration in today's complexity is the risk uniform and indiscriminate, or is it targeted to certain aspects of vessels ownership, operation, cargo, charters, so on and so forth, right? So with this in mind, you need to have a decision framework. Now, for a fleet of 700 plus vessels, we cannot really make bespoke decisions for every asset in real time. So once you've done this triage of the problem, then the next step is to have a governance framework set on some basic principles which your team can apply very quickly with a threshold of escalation. Now, the foundation pillars of these principles or governance framework is very simple. Primary, safety of the crew. Second is contractual and commercial obligations. And third is cost and efficiency. Always in that order. What really happens on the ground is you kick off a crisis control protocol. So we have something called a global security desk, which we have built, and I'll probably answer that in the second part of the question. So our operational teams take help of our global security desk, which has intelligence coming from very credible security partner agencies and a real live monitoring situation on the ground. With this, they do very quickly is what we call a security assessment. This assessment is important because now we have to lead this to the decision. And it is the owners who really make that decision. In our role as managers, we have to give them all the information, the assessment, and the facts for them to be able to make a decision. What are the options now? Reroute, what is the impact? Additional mileage, more fuel, time, voyage costs, maybe port rotation issues, maybe scheduling issues, next cargo uplift issues. You start now gathering the situation and making a risk assessment of this. What is the total impact of that? If you say delay, okay, what is the cost of waiting time? What is the uncertainty? We could be here forever. If you say proceed, then okay, what is the real risk? What is the mitigation measures that we can put in? With all this in mind, the owner will, along with us perhaps, and with other players, make a decision which we will execute finally. What has changed really in the last years is the speed and the frequency at which these decisions need to be made. And this leads me to your second question. It's no more, I thought you used episodic is the word. So it's no more a single episode, it's prolonged trauma. It's an ongoing escalation. We saw the Red Sea for a couple of months. We're now seeing Hormuz now for 75 days, right? And still not stopping. So the decisions are not sole incident related. They're continuous, they're dynamic. They need to be made frequently, daily, but in the light of evolving circumstances. And that is what has really changed. So it's no more about only speed of decision making, it's also about stamina. It's about withstanding that situation and to be able to deal with it. But lastly and most critically, I would like to mention in this context is the human element. At the end of the day, whatever decision we make collectively, it has to be executed by the crew members on board that ship who is in that situation. And their safety is paramount. The master, of course, has by law an overriding authority. And if he turns around and says, with all the assessment, the risk is still unmanageable for this particular execution, whether it's voyage, go or no go, we will respect that. Period. That's very, very important. Because in today's world, good shipping is not about taking risks. It's about knowing which risks not to take. I think, and another important line in context of the second question is something from Lenin. There are decades when nothing happens, and then there are weeks when decades happen. We are living in one of those times where we're seeing consistent geopolitical pressure overlapping, not only in terms of real threats or war risks. We're talking about sanction complexity. We're talking about electronic interference. We're talking about regional instability. And these are all, like I said, overlapping under time pressure, continuously raising the complexity of what we do. So you also spoke about resilience for an organization like us. And resilience is not only about dealing with something, it is about withstanding, adapting, and resolving it. So to withstand it, your crew needs to be prepared. That's very, very important. They are the guys on the ground who are dealing with the circumstances. To adapt, what you need is operational flexibility. You cannot plan a voyage today in rigid, I'm going from point A to point B. At the planning stage, you need to think about eventualities. You need to think about alternate routes, plans, bunkering ports, agency networks, what you might need to deal with if there is a choke point. These are proactive measures today and not reactive anymore, right? And the most important thing is communication amongst all the stakeholders. Once you have that decision, the vessel, the owner, the charterers, the manager, of course, the flag state, the insurers, all the people need to be involved, informed, and aligned in this decision and know what role they are playing. Because it is about, being together in this situation and to be able to deal with it, to be able to resolve it finally. Otherwise, if anybody is misinformed or misaligned or ambiguous or not clear about the direction, your resilience will fail. So, geopolitical landscape, two things that I want to say about it.
Seascape.
Seascape, thank you. Geopolitical seascape, two things that I want to say about that, right? Number one, that commercial ambition should never overtake human life. That's one very important aspect. The second aspect about resilience is geopolitics, and people attached to that can draw lines in the seascape or draw borders, but it is the resilience of all the people attached with the resolution which determine it. Thank you.
Thank you, Neeraj. I just wanted you to go on, and we all wanted to keep listening. Just one very quick, first of all, thank you very much for such a fantastic overview that you have given. How is the crew taking it? What sort of, you know, is there helplessness, or is it something which is there as part of a professional life? How is it that they are taking it, and how is it that you as an organization are giving them that support?
No, thank you, Jagmeet. It's not easy. So, to say the least, the people who are there, who are seeing the activity happening, who are seeing missiles, torpedoes, drones, and hoping that nothing of that sort comes close to them is not a situation that anybody wants to be in. So that we need to acknowledge. At the same time, it's about preparedness of the crew, which I did not go into much detail of, and I didn't even double click on the global security.
I'll come back to you on that later. Okay. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. Captain Chen, now being a ship owner and dealing with the charterers, fixing your ships, how do you make these decisions in the present situation on the short term versus long term? How is the entire commercial scenario changed? And how is it that you're making those decisions?
Okay, thank you. I think at this moment, so far we feel okay because I think no matter how the geopolitical situation goes, for Wagwan, our core value remain unchanged. We always try best to select the right partner, right counterparties. If you doing the business with the counterparties share the similar value, care about the people, all those things become easier. Secondly, of course, Hong Kong is one of the maritime center. You need to choose use the support from like the teacher Lee. We also call him teacher Lee. Use the legal assistance to ensure you have very well drafted contract. And the last thing is, I think, more importantly, for Wagwan experience, sometimes the dispute is not come from you have unreasonable charterers or unreasonable counterparties. The problem comes from insufficient communication. I think in mostly as long as they can dealing with us, they all share the similar culture. They all respect the people's life, all respect those things. So as long as we can have very sufficient or deep communication about what is the fact, what is owner's efforts, what should we already do best endeavor to solve our clients' problem, they will care about us as well. If we only look at our own interest, totally ignore our charterers' interest, then they will feel their interest is not protected. I think the sufficient communication, clients' first culture, is so by doing this all three, we're not really facing the huge challenge. To be frank, in today's environment, also there's some troubles. Compared with the troubles given to us during the COVID, still much less. Thank you.
You mean the the problem today is less than the COVID time?
Yeah, for us, I feel like that, because for the COVID is worldwide. Also fearing of the people, we're going to some uncharted depth areas. But for this kind of the confliction, also maybe for some young people, we think it's something new. But if we look at the human's history, we have a lot of experiences, right?
All right, so we can, what I hear is like the COVID has taught us how to deal with anything else in the world, is it? Okay, thank you so much. So, you see, we want to change the format of our discussion today. So, we are not going to wait till the end of the panel discussion for the questions. So can I ask if anyone has got a question? I've got time for 2 questions before we move to Malin. Anyone? Any question? Yeah? All right.
Okay, thank you very much, Niraj and Captain Chen. I just listened to Captain Chen. He mentioned that you are finding the partner of the similar value or similar culture. So what criteria will you put into the selection process, and how you can tell that your partner are sharing the same visions or same culture with you?
Practically, you mean?
Yeah.
Thank you, Brian. It's a very, very good question. This is also the question I ask myself every day. Of course, I thanks for our industry. It's a very long history industry. And normally we don't do the business with some very, very new face. So everybody, what we said, what we did, we have the choice, right? You cannot do any bad things without letting any people know. If you do something bad, eventually you will be known by the people. And secondly, I think you need to keep a very frequent communication with your counterparties. Again, see, you are not just watching what they said, you just watch what they did. That's very important. For today, it's not that difficult. Like today, we thank you, you have such a wonderful network working. I think in shipping society, we are a very small society. It's not that difficult to find the behavior, the culture of the company. Yeah. I can give you an example. I visited the company, maybe it's not a shipping company, but maybe I can mention their name, but they also is a Wanhua, is a petrochemical company in a Shandong province. It's the company is located in Yantai, is second tier, maybe even third tier city. But the company gave me a very deep impression when I visited their company. Just one small thing, I go to their washroom. Normally in those small cities in China, you will feel very dirty washroom. But in there, very, very organized. Then immediately I give a trust vote to this company. Of course, if you look at the stock exchange, they perform really good. Yeah, they maybe grows the 30 times in 30 years. Yeah, thank you.
I think that says a lot. That says a lot. One more question there? All right. Can someone just pass the mic? Can you please introduce yourself and also to whom the question is directed?
It's directed to the 2 captains. I'm Captain Saurabh. I work with the China Merchants LNG, Opal LNG. And my question is, where you have your ships, especially to Anglo, you have your ships parked there. PNI has given you 72 hours notice and pulled out their war insurance. How big is the challenge to support them seafarers? The tanker has gone down off Oman, and yeah, fortunately, all the seafarers rescued. But how big of a challenge it is now, and how are the companies supporting the seafarers? Because I'm a seafarer, I'm ex-seafarer, so I feel for them. And I totally get it. PNI has their own stand, the 72-hour notice, and it changes. So how do you deal with that, and how are you supporting the seafarers which are stuck there in your companies? I know Wakong doesn't have any ships there, but but it could be in the future potentially, that you're in that situation.
No, thank you, Captain Saurabh, for the question. We have 16 ships inside the Persian Gulf today, with a number of seafarers, of course, and more number of families attached to that. So I will address the part where what we are doing about it first. So operations team, we have 24/7 monitoring for the ships which are affected in any high-risk area, let alone a war risk area. We talk to our crew every day all our ships are connected. We talk to our ships more than once a day, actually, so at least twice a day. What we want to know and what we are trying to keep a track of is a structural record of how things are on board, right? Supplies, food, water, essentials, morale of the crew, trying to give them information about how the situation is developing, giving them tailored security briefing for their area, of course, asking them to move if we see a situation developing where they are, and so on and so forth. And we've been doing this not only for Hormuz, we've been doing this for years now. We have the Global Security Desk, and my colleague, Captain Swapan, is there at the back, who has founded this. And we have this from 22 Swapan, I think so, if I'm right, yeah. So that is something which we do as a company because it's the right thing to do. No owner has asked us to set this up. But like I said, the human element is most important. They are the people who are facing the risk, and they are the ones who need to be taken care of the most. The commercial decisions, the insurance, etc., is a consequence of it. The second part is easy and short. We've not had any insurance pullouts on any of our vessels. And that is, again, because of the kind of owners that we partner with. There are a number of them in the room, and we're very proud of the trust that they place in us, and the same way for us to have the support from them. So each of our owners has been able to secure war risk insurances and been able to pay additional premiums or whatever it needed to make sure that the ship and the crew were covered from 28th of February onwards, regardless of how the percentages developed and what the outgoing was. It did not matter. And that's super important for us. The second most important thing is nobody has asked us to take undue risk and try and transit either on day 75. That speaks volumes about the kind of partnerships we have. Thank you.
Thank you, Neeraj. Thank you so much. I think quite an appropriate time to move to Melin and ask her about insurance. Yeah. And thank you so much for bringing that element in. It makes it easier for me as the moderator to do the transition. It's not mentioned, transition. All right. So, Malin, the insurance-directed rerouting. Now, my question may have a little bit of confusion. And I would like you to dispel some misunderstandings between war risk and PNI.
Excellent.
And
Very
H&M.
happy to do
Yeah.
that.
So insurance-directed rerouting is now a common language. When does a prudent master's decision become an insured event? And are we seeing a new class of uninsurable voyages emerge? Take some time and also let us know what actions have you as guard and the IG have specifically taken to support ship owners and seafarers in the Persian Gulf conflict. Sorry, it's a bit longish one. So if you were writing the ICS exams, maybe we'll give you half an hour extra.
All right. Thank you very much, Jagmeet, for posing that particular question. I really do relish the opportunity to perhaps set straight some misunderstandings. Now, Captain Sorab just now talked about the sort of feeling of panic that people had when they received their notices of cancellation on, I think, March the 5th it was, right? 72 hours or March the 4th, sorry. And a lot of people didn't really understand what this meant. I admit, notice of cancellation is a little bit of an unfortunate term. What it really is, it's a agreed contractual mechanism in war risks cover. Usually when you take out your war risks cover, you're quoted a premium at the risk levels at the time. But there is a built-in contractual mechanism where if the risk levels change significantly, as they did on the 28th of February, your insurer can issue what they call an NOC, notice of cancellation. And that does not mean they're going to leave you high and dry with no insurance. It just means that they're giving you notice that your terms need to be renegotiated to take into account the new heightened risk levels. So that is something that admittedly was not communicated very clearly to the market at the time it was happening. So I even had, and some of these notices were worded very confusingly. I remember even getting queries from some guard members saying, "Oh my God, does this mean my P&I insurance is not in place anymore?" That was absolutely not what that was. So we were able to reassure them quite quickly. Now, on the subject of insurance-directed rerouting and are there uninsurable voyages, I have to say I don't quite agree with that premise. It's important to remember, take a step back, remember what insurance is, right? So first and foremost, it is a risk management tool. You as a ship owner, operator, transfer your risk to your insurer, and in exchange for taking on that risk, your insurer will charge you a premium, which they price at a level that they think reflects the potential losses. And so then it becomes incumbent on you, the person buying the product, to decide whether that level of risk, whether that premium being quoted is worthwhile, right? So when your insurer quotes your premium, they are telling you their assessment of the risk level, and you can decide whether you agree with their assessment and whether it's your risk appetite will allow you to engage in that trade. Now, I take the point that if you say that when it comes to P&I insurance, your risk appetite has very little to do with it because, let's face it, these days P&I insurance is effectively a must-have for most sea-going vessels, right? So your commercial counterparties will require it, your terminals will require it, and of course, most port states and flag states will require it. So you do have to have that. But since I've got all of you here, I'm going to do some shameless advertising for the IG and say that since the 1990s, the average P&I premium rate has actually gone down by 30%. And the reason for that, per GT, I should say, 30% per GT. And the reason for that is because of just significant improvements in safety, right? We're seeing fewer injuries, fewer spills, just less damage overall. And we all benefit, right, from this sort of loss reduction, which also correspondingly reduces your premiums. War risks insurance is entirely a different beast from P&I. So war risks insurance is very much a commercial product. It is not a must-have insurance like P&I is. Of course, it's a very nice to have, but ultimately, it is up to you as an owner-operator to decide whether your risk appetite requires you to take out this insurance. So I have to say, disclaimer here, I'm an FDD lawyer by background. I'm not an underwriter, so please do not ask me any complicated questions about cover or quotes. But I am reliably informed by my underwriter colleagues that the war risks market is quite crowded, actually. It's quite competitive. And earlier, there was already mention of the new Hong Kong war risks mutual pool. And there are lots of such pools out there, lots of providers. And so then effectively you guys become consumers, right? You need to find a service provider who can provide a service at the level and at a price that you're willing to pay. And when it comes, and you can already see this sort of market competition in the Persian Gulf for vessels that are actually trapped in the Persian Gulf. Even for those vessels, you see a fair variance in the war AP rates being quoted. And that reflects the fact that different insurers will have different approaches to assessing the risk levels for those vessels. I'm told that if you're a larger ship owner, you probably have some, leverage to negotiate a more preferential rate. And if you shop around a bit, you might be able to find somebody who can offer a more favorable rate as well. If we're talking about the Strait of Hormuz transits, well, yeah, okay, I'm sorry, but that's probably going to be pretty high no matter who you speak to. I'm told currently it's hovering about 7.5% of hull value. And in the last few months, at one point, it even went up to 10% of hull value. So it sounds astronomical, but I think that is a sort of good faith assessment of the dangers and risks posed by such a transit. So I'd like to take the opportunity as well to do just a little bit of community outreach and perhaps, soothe some harrowed souls here. I know a lot of people feel that they're sort of at the mercy of their war risks insurers, perhaps. But I think it is important to say that a lot of war risks insurers have been trying their best to be sympathetic to the vessels that are trapped inside, right? So they are sophisticated commercial entities who take a long-term view on client relationships, and they know that it doesn't do anybody any good if they charge unsustainably high premiums, right? Especially in the situation where nobody knows how much longer it might go on. So I would say, to me, I think that's quite a unique and a very comforting part about the industry we're in, because most of us, recognize that we're all part of this ecosystem, right, which requires stability and equilibrium. And if any of you are Star Wars fans, basically it means there must be balance in the Force, right? So this balance, insurers are trying to walk a bit of a tightrope and finding their balance between, on the one hand, charging premiums that are realistic and reflect the potential losses, and on the other hand, not making the premium so prohibitively expensive that their customers cannot do business anymore, right? So need to find a balance there. Another thing you have to strike a balance between, obviously the premiums that you pay and the premiums that everybody else pays will all go towards making good a loss if you are so unlucky to suffer one. And I've been told that it's been estimated that if all of the ships currently trapped inside the Persian Gulf were to become constructive total losses, but of course, knock on wood, that's not going to happen. But if they were all to become constructive total losses, the loss would easily wipe out and far exceed an entire year of hull premiums paid by the entire global fleet. And so that is why, when we encounter situations of heightened risk, we do have to make sensible adjustments to the premiums. So all of that's just a very long-winded way of saying there are no uninsurable voyages, actually. Everything can be insured, but at what price, right? That's the question. And I think insurers are making an effort to be reasonable about it, and we are here to try and help you be able to manage your risk and carry on your business in a sensible fashion. Yeah. And but unfortunately, I think these costs do need to be factored into your voyage economics for the foreseeable future. Yeah.
Thank you, Malin. Thank you so much. Is there anything else?
You had a second
you were
question,
about to
didn't
say
you?
something.
You had a second question, didn't you?
Second question. Okay, I'm going to change it a bit. Okay. Yeah. You talked about price and risk, and you meant insurance is not charity, right? So it's business. So how is it that you evaluate the risk and accordingly you charge the premium? And what happens if the risk is changed by your counterparty or the insured? How is it that you're going to look at whether your insured's cover is going to be compromised or not? Can you just touch upon that for 1 or 2 minutes?
I did say I'm not an underwriter. So, all right. So, if anybody really wants to understand this more in depth, I can put you in touch with one of my underwriting colleagues. But at Guard, we do have quite sophisticated tools, AI tools, well, machine learning really. And what these do is, because we do have a wealth of data accumulated over many, many years, right? Honestly, the biggest factor contributing to premiums is usually somebody's historical loss record, and less so these changes in the outside environment. And that's why we've been able to sustainably offer P&I insurance even amidst all the turmoil we've been seeing in the last few years, right? Your P&I cover has remained in place. Even the excess war P&I cover has remained in place. So that's the one where so the excess war P&I cover is the one that kicks in if you suffer a war risk that exceeds the fair value of your vessel. Yeah. So, I mean, realistically speaking, a lot of your premiums are going to depend on, will be impacted by your standard run-of-the-mill losses, right? It's going to be people claims. Container fires are pretty costly these days. It's that sort of thing that's really going to have the most impact on your premiums. And as for how it is that an insurer decides when your cover is prejudiced, well, these are all really quite clearly set out in your rules, right? So I think IG insurers, we take pride in not being like your car insurer or your health insurer, where they try very hard to avoid paying out a claim, right? We are here to support our clients and members, and we will do our best to help you and, you know, cover your losses if we can, but we must also have regard for the rest of the mutual association, right? So there needs to be an element of fairness between all ship owners.
Yeah, thanks for the held covered clause. Okay, coming to our, the second question, I'm going to come back to you later about what GUARD is doing and IG Club is doing. I'll come back to you later on that. So coming to our teacher Lee, with insurers cancelling war risk cover and the JWC expanding listed areas, what are the commercial and contractual consequences for vessels that can no longer get cover?
My question. First of all, I thank the two organizers to invite me to be a panelist with a great panelists together. And I really, I'm very pleased to have Merlin to explain the practice. And we have really good P&I people. They are helping owners. However, the commercial insurance, as Merlin and our moderator said, is running on the business. I have been handling the even now cases for the Ukraine, the stranded vessel, one for 7 months, the other one is 18 months. Now, for the Persian Gulf vessels, we only passed 1.5 months. We will have a lot of questions. I think shipping lawyers are very busy in those days because we are advising the owners, charters, and the cargo interest how to deal with the situations. In the past, we have daily 10 or 20 cases coming. Of course, we have conflict. We are acting for the owners, traders, they come to us. Now, coming to the insurance, it's really important to every stakeholders. As moderator said, the Joint War Committee has extended the areas to all the areas, not only the Persian Gulf, also on the Bay, Aman Bay, etc. So that is causing everyone in shipping, charters, if you do trading with that area, one of the really cost is insurance, how much you can do. I have clients who have cargoes from China. They are not going to the Persian Gulf, they go to the Red Seas. Again, the insurance cost is really huge. And also for the charterers, if they are going to send vessels, the cost of the insurance allocation. Now the question is really, the major question is really how you allocate those costs. We have Cornwall, either voyage or time charter. Normally charters will pay those costs. And however, we have also seen the charter parties is not clear. And really charters and owners have a very big argument who will pay. And we have also clients who can't, they don't have funds to keep the insurer of the vessels. As Murdy mentioned, you have probably reinsure your vessel or cargo. Very expensive, and some owners they have to decide not really put insurance. This really is question practically. We have a cargo interest, we have ship owners. I agree, there must be some kind of discussion and how to allocate the cost. From my experience with the Ukraine war, and at the beginning, the war premium, they gave 7 days, then 7%, now it's probably 2%. Gradually, the insurer reducing the premium. So because the risk will be assessed by the expert, actually, I understand from the brokers, now the premium is really reducing unless you are passing the strait. If you're passing that, of course, at least 5% or even 8%, that's quite expensive. So from either owner's point of view or charterers or cargo interest, you need check the terms of your contracts and then say how to allocate those costs. And also, of course, you need negotiate with your long-term insurer and say how to survive, actually. Here we have IG clubs. They do clarify that, like school, I think also guard. It's not really canceling the cover. It's for the fixed premium, that kind of thing they cancel. So now really my advice in the current situation, you do need study carefully on the terms, and then you do need negotiate with the insurers, and our clients always take the view, or always, when they negotiate the insurer. Now, I have been with your company for many, many years. Now, really the risk is not as people think. So that's really difficult time for everyone, in particular.
Yeah, Teacher Lee, they normally say it's not risk, it's the perception of risk. How do you perceive it? Yeah.
Thank you.
And that is, Malin, would you like to have 1 or 2 minutes to say something on that now? Okay. No? Okay. Can we have one more question now? This is a fantastic time when we talk about not you, somebody else. So we are not going to have the same person asking the question. Moderator puts his foot down. If we can't find anybody else, then we'll ask you to do it. Anybody else? Okay. All right.
Thank you, Jagmeet. You have done wonderful moderating. I have the question to the moderator, Mr. Moderator. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Everything has the two sides, just like a coin. Yet all panelists are talking about the crisis. Yeah. But I think what the impact, the crisis and the opportunities, the Hormuz Strait crisis and the posing to the Hong Kong shipping industry, and facing the uncertainties. Can you give some suggestions to the shipping industry?
Oh my God, the
Thank
moderator has to answer this question. Moderator is here to ask questions. But just to say one thing, then I'm going to, it's a very good question. I'm going to leave it to all the 4 panelists to answer something. The only thing positive that I see, in my opinion, though it's very sad what's happening, it's going to inspire people to come out with innovation. Yeah, that's what, because necessity is the mother of invention. So when suddenly you have oil not available, the problems with the oil, problem with the gas, you and we all will suddenly find there is an increased effort to come out with renewable energy and find other means to reduce our dependence on the fossil fuels coming from Middle East. It can happen anywhere. Middle East is just today, for an example. Anybody would like to comment on that, Neeraj? And then Teacher Lee.
Yeah, I think if what you are trying to ask Gary is what is the second order effects of this war, right? Perhaps what can for the Hong Kong owners specifically. I think Jagmeet did allude to that in his opening. He mentioned something about the in the background China is working on, you know, a green pathway, sort of, and probably that's what he also addressed here. That the dependency on fossil fuel will perhaps become a question for the wider world, and this will accelerate innovation, this will accelerate development, and countries who already have the lead, like China do in electrification, in green technology, in producing alternate fuels, that that will get a fresh boost, because everybody today is now talking about nationalization. We're talking about energy security. We're talking about regionalization. We're talking about political alignment. So these things are what will decide, the future of any national interest of shipping, including of Hong Kong's. Of course, Hong Kong does not have its, it does have a shipowning association and a shipping cohort and a community, but the larger dependence, of course, is also on mainland for a lot of things, including fuel and production of these. So Hong Kong remains a great connector to the world. And in the background, the development that China will do will be pushed through the world, to the world through Hong Kong. That's how I see it. That's how Hong Kong will benefit from it.
Go back to Teacher Lee. Now, when we talk about the traffic in the SOH, Strait of Hormuz, having fallen to near zero, from a legal perspective, how do owners deal with what would you advise them to deal with the stranded fleet and the crews? How can they manage that?
I think the most important is the human being, the seafarers, and how the stakeholders how can help the seafarers for their repatriation and basic food supply, and also traveling and mental health. That's really for the ship owners, insurers. We need to work together and how to make sure the seafarers can be taken care by his family, companies. It's really important. Now their mental health. So that is one aspect. Of course, we need all the stakeholders to take care. From the owner's point of view, of course, every action you take, your own records, everything, in order to claim against the insurer, right? You need to get the money back. So that is very important. We have suggested our clients having the special team to deal with the situation. You record everything, you contact your insurer and find out how you can recover from the insurer and how the assistance can be given to the crew, to the agent there, and you record everything. I think that's really everyone need to do.
Yep. Thank you so much, Captain Saurabh. Now you can, if you're still willing to do that.
I'm a bit disappointed and sad, but I'll still do it. I've dealt with God for a long time, and it would be dishonest to say that they've been most wonderful, supporting in my previous roles in my previous companies before China Merchants. But what I want to ask is if there is a D-Day scenario for Mr. Lee also, it's Judgment Day. Are you risk modeling for that? What does it come down to if another 2 ships go down and then seafarers getting There are fatalities and everything. So are you risk modeling into that, like a future scenario, worst case scenario, or it's like, okay, business as usual?
Okay, can I just make little bit background to this? I think that's a fantastic question. And for the benefit of everyone, I would just like touch upon little bit of statistics, something we call Poisson's ratio, the lambda. So when you are doing the risk assessment, you're looking at probability of something happening. This is what you're talking about. Then you say, okay, in case this happens, then what is the loss given it's happening? So we call that probability of default and loss given default, or probability of loss and what total. So that Poisson's ratio is extremely important to do the calculation. Now, what I understand, Captain Saurabh, and I pass it on to Malin and Teacher Lee, how is this going to be considered for future evaluation of that lambda, so that you calculate the probability increasing in future, another Mr. Trump coming, or something, like that, and what will be the losses? Yep.
Whew. I did say, don't ask me underwriting questions. Of course, I think I think the answer would be yes. We are risk modeling for anticipated losses based on the current situation. But it's not just us, it's also our reinsurers. So to some extent, we also have to factor in the level of risk that our reinsurers are willing to take. And all of that sort of combines to feed into the premium levels that you get quoted. That's for war risks. For P&I, I couldn't tell you exactly, but I think, just based on like I said earlier, when it comes to your run-of-the-mill P&I insurance, war risks are excluded from that to begin with, right? So, of course, there are a lot of knock-on effects, sort of what we call the standard bread and butter P&I claims that are arising out of the conflict. For example, we're seeing claims relating to corrosive cargoes that have been carried on board and stored in the tanks for far longer than they should have. So that's starting to corrode the tank walls. It's going to threaten the structural integrity of the walls. We're also anticipating, of course, that with prolonged stress on the crew, inevitably, the longer this goes on, there will be more human error, right? And as we all know, a lot of incidents are the result of fatigue and human error. So one of the things we're looking at is what if there is a casualty incident inside the Persian Gulf? And because right now the crisis response resources inside the Gulf are fairly limited. We try not to do too much crystal ball gazing, sorry. We try not to do too much crystal ball gazing. We do try to keep it very focused on things that we can see happening, because ultimately, I still think these are probably minor, sort of what I would call local volatility, right? I don't think this is going to have a huge impact on losses on a consistent basis. Yeah.
From a ship manager's perspective, ship owner's perspective, you go down from 3 to 7.5, and then you go to 10% or something like that. That's trebling the premium, right? So that is a possible scenario, right? It's not that it's something that a business, an enterprise, a pool of 12 clubs, P&I clubs, is doing intentionally. It's the scenario, it's the circumstance.
Well, what you've just described are the Strait of Hormuz transit rates, right? That's not your mutual P&I cover. That's war risks. And, for those of you who think it's too high, would you be willing to transit the strait without it, right? So, earlier Captain Niraj said these days it's about looking at what risks not to take. right? So if your insurers, and I think a lot of war risk insurers are pretty good at assessing information. And Captain Niraj also mentioned that the importance of having a lot of data and filtering out the noise, right? So insurers usually have a very great capability of assessing information, and if they're taking the view that a risk, and if a lot of them are taking the view that a risk is priced at that level, I think that's something, it reflects their good faith assessment of what the potential losses might be, right? And that is the unfortunate reality of the troubled times we're living in, I'm afraid.
What should I expect if I'm a hypocritical owner or a manager to go up to 10, 12, 15% to pay on PNI?
What, again, for a Strait of Hormuz transit?
Okay, let that be over a cup of coffee or maybe a round of beer later afterwards. Okay, just coming back, Teacher Lee, would you like to add on to this?
Yes, I think now it's always the incident-driven arrangement, like the war clauses. I think we should, as moderator, said, I think we need really having something positively change in this kind of scenario in the future, another Trump coming and things. Now, in the meantime, I believe even in the future, the human being is very important, seafarers. Let's fix the seafarers in advance. Currently, PNI Club will take responsibility. However, in the war situation like this, it's not only PNI Club. So we should have really in the future the contractive provision, insurer, owners, and charterers. If situation like this, not only the owners, but also charterers, they should contribute the repatriation of the crew, and we don't have similar clauses in the charter party, and we should have, say, this kind of situation, contribution.
I think that's a very good point to come
Thank
to
you.
Captain Chen. Captain Chen, are you in a position to change these clauses in the charter party when you charter your ships out, making the charterers also part of bearing the risk? How is it that you're handling the present situation from the commercial perspective?
I think in most of the charterers do bear those risks. They are willing to pay the additional premium for the war risks. I don't foresee, as I explained at the beginning, I don't see as a huge problem if you have the reputable charterers for this one. Yeah.
So just for the benefit of everyone, let's say you are evaluating the charterers. What is it that you see before you actually finalize the charterer? That this is the party, this is the counterparty you would like to enter into business with?
Of course, we have our KYC format depending on the business nature. For one voyage business, or for 1 year, or for 3 years, we have different KYC criteria. This is the minimum. And also, said Wagwan has been in this business in the industry for more than 70 years. We have a lot of the past data. And also this society, for me, is a relatively small society. Also for some new face, it's easy. You can seek the opinion from your existing partners. And I think it's not a shame you ask help from your peers. To be frank, also maybe I a little bit echo the Captain Soros' first question. Wagwan, of course, we are lucky. We don't have the vessel stuck in the Persian Gulf. Maybe partly because our managed fleet is relatively small. We only manage about 100 ships, not 700 ships. But also, some people also say it's not only lucky, right? It's maybe because we already give some warning notice to our owners, to our charterers, because this tension is not happening by one night. There's already a lot of the early signs happens. And secondly, talking about this, I want to come back to the initial question, talking about how to take care of the crew or take care of the people. I think is a technical question is not really difficult. If you really have that culture, if you really care about the people, you always can find a way. For example, Wagwan, we don't have the experience. Suddenly we have some vessel in similar situation. I can ask help from Captain Nada. He will, is that not a commercial secret? He will naturally help us. So I think it's all about the culture, all about what is your core value. If you really believe that one, in today's world, you always can find a way to solve the problem.
Okay,
Thank you.
let me add there. Do you think in Hong Kong, the Hong Kong ecosystem, is there this sense of collaboration, like you mentioned, you can just call Neeraj? Other companies, it's a similar. How do you feel about this collaboration and that Hong Kong culture?
For our own experience, we feel great. We every day, even we have 70 years experience, we always face a new problem. We are not ashamed to ask help from our partners, friends, even competitors. We always get very good support. Yeah.
Okay. Whether it is commercial or a technical problem. Both.
Anything, but you don't want to ask other companies commercial secret, right? It's immoral.
All right. I think yeah, we're already 8:10. So let's have this one last question, then we'll open it again to the floor if you guys have some other question. Starting with you, Neeraj. Purposely, I'm putting you on the spot. What is the one positive change driven by stakeholders like owners, charterers? When I say owners, ship managers are included, and the underwriters, insurers, uh, that would most meaningfully improve seafarers' well being in a geopolitically volatile world? A little bit mouthful, but you know what I mean.
No, of course. Thank you. Yeah. I think the seafarers need very little to be happy. You don't need too big commitments. You don't need all these big stakeholders to align to take care of the seafarer. They need good living, working conditions. They need to be taken care of, mentally, physically, provided a safe working environment. But in today's context of geopolitics, uh, in my mind, the biggest gift that we can give to our seafarers is connectivity at sea. It may sound a little bit too small in the background of the big problems that we've been discussing, but hear me out. I think, sorry, I will rephrase. I know from experience, being a seafarer myself, and having dealing with these 140 crew members who are on board those ships in Persian Gulf and talking to them and video calling them. The biggest thing or the most meaningful thing that we do to them is talk to them and allow them free, uninterrupted bandwidth to do the same with their families. You cannot take away the risk, you cannot take away the threat, but you can take away the isolation. You can make yourselves and them a part of a cohort which is in it together. And then we have owners who join that. We've had the Deputy Prime Minister of Belgium who came and had a video call with seafarers on board a ship in our office. So connectivity today is a fractional increment in the ship's operating cost, and the technology is available. My urge to all my colleagues, ship owners, managers, charterers, insurers, whoever's in the room, please push for seafarers to get free connectivity at sea. Thank you.
I'm going to jump to Teacher Lee. What do you think? One positive change that you would see.
Yeah, I just wanted to repeat what I have said just a while ago. It's really, from a legal point of view, I want to make, the stakeholders like insurer, owners, and charterers, they are legally bound, in particular for the welfare of the crew. Say in the contract, the crew will be entitled to such a right, repatriation, everything. So not only owners, not only club, and the charters, of course. Yeah.
I see. Let me quickly ask the audience one question. How many of you think the seafarers have got adequate insurance once they leave the ship? It depends up to them, right? What about if they have to, they get injured or something, they go ashore? I'm not talking about Anglo-Eastern here. Okay. In general, do you think they have sufficient insurance or they land up in a very big, difficult situation once they go home?
I think it depends on the owner. Whether good owner will provide insurance for a seafarer 365, even when the seafarer is off the vessel.
All right. So it all depends on the quality of employment that the seafarer gets into, right? Okay. All right. Malin.
So I'm going to be a little bit philosophical here. And I think what worries me is I feel we're seeing a fragmentation, right? So in my lifetime, at least, I've been lucky enough to enjoy unprecedented peace, relative prosperity, and security, right? Financial security, physical security. And I worry that a lot of countries are now withdrawing into themselves and increasingly hostile towards one another. And it's becoming more and more acceptable to behave unacceptably, right? So this is something that is, again, to quote Star Wars, really disturbing, upsetting the balance of the force. And in our community, in our industry, I don't think we can afford to act that way, right? Because we are an absolutely essential industry for the world, right? We supply billions of people with necessities like food, energy, clothing, whatever. And if we want to keep that up, it is incumbent on us to act like responsible adults. It is incumbent on us to continue to function as a community, regardless of what certain national governments might be doing. And I know we're not supposed to talk about sensitive political subjects, but we can rise above. And I was really happy to hear Captain Niraj and Captain Chen talk earlier about the sort of cohesiveness and the collaboration of the Hong Kong shipping community, because that's exactly what we need, right? We need to keep that up, and we all need to support a rules-based world order, right? So we know what the playbook is, and we all need to keep playing by it, because that is what's going to keep our ships running. That's going to keep goods flowing, and that's what's going to get our seafarers home at the end of their contracts.
Thank you very much. Captain Chen, you got a minute. You got a minute. One last positive thing that you think we should be doing for seafarers.
Oh, it's very hard question, because I'm not a people can immediately create some good idea. But I think more important is sharing the knowledge between each other, sharing the good practice between the company. For us, I think I can share you one example. When I first joined Wagon 15 years ago, from moving from the sea to the shore, I think 3 months later, I take a first task. That time, the Somali pirate is a lot of this situation coming on. Although as the responsible owner, we hired one escort boat to accompany the vessel, to protect the vessel. But the captain of that vessel still refused to go. Then I have to, because I still hold the captain's license, I have to fly to the Madagascar, I still remember, to replace that captains. And I work on board that vessel for 2 weeks, then until the new captain joined that one. But it's not a point. The point I want to mention after that, we still continue to employ that captain. We don't believe them. Yeah, thank you.
That's amazing. I mean, you respected his decision, but commercially you had to go and do that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have our fifth panelist who has landed and managed to come here. He's
Thank you.
Mr.
Thank
JJ
you.
Wang.
Thank you. Thank you. Really a pleasure.
So JJ, now since we got just a couple of minutes, so the last part which I have been asking them, what is it, that positive thing which comes to your mind, which can do in this difficult situation of geopolitics for our seafarers?
I think, seafarers are facing lots of difficulties from the family, from the self at sea, and mainly to consider the future. In my personal view, if the company can continue to offer like a training when they're getting off the ship, continue to give them practice opportunities, of course, for the long-term future, no matter continuous with on board or ashore, at least they have additional skill. Many of skills you don't need to be in course in class anymore, like online or occasionally training course, like Jackmeter you are running. So in that part, a company also benefit and the individual benefit as well. Like Hong Kong has been, in last couple of years, we're losing people, scared people, and in that part also attract a younger generation continuously work on board. This is my personal view. But anyway, really apologize because of the delay. All the North flight has been almost delayed because of the big present.
Right.
Anyway,
Thank
it's finally made it. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much. So Amy, you got an answer from JJ, right? So we need to, as the industry, we need to give that exposure to the young generation. All right. Now, very, very quickly, and just we are going to finish, but regarding the seafarers, something that is extremely important. You know what we did to them during Corona time? We didn't care. The governments didn't care. The associations did not care. We had that biggest problem, and we were all worried that will they come back? Will the next generation of seafarers, would they be there for us when the demand for seafarers is going to be increasing? So that's the same thing even today. If the seafarers and their families can feel that they are cared for, whatever may happen, but the companies are there, employees are there, underwriters are there, everybody is there, all the stakeholders are there, then I think we are perfectly fine. So with that, thank you very much. I really appreciate, can I have a big round of applause, including JJ and to everybody? Right. Thank you. JJ, can you join for a picture, for the photo? Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you very much for a very interesting panel discussion. May two of the chairmen please go on stage. And also Captain Lam. We'll have another group photo with the chairman and Captain Lam. Thank you. Very nice photo. Thank you. Jack Mead and the panelists, would you like to stay on stage? We just have a very, very short souvenir presentation. Can we have the panelists and Jack Mead back on the stage? We just have a very short prize presentation. Thank you. First, we would like to thank Jackmeet Makar for doing a very, very good job of moderating. Thank you, Jackmeet. Thank you. Next, can we have Captain Chen, please? Next on the list is Mr. Lian Jin. Thank you. Captain Niraj Nanda. Mr. Wang Zhenjun. Good that you managed to come back on time for the prize. And last but not least, Ms. Madeline Wang. Once again, big thank you to our moderator and panelists. Thank you. We'll have another photo. Another photo, just another photo with your prizes. Thank you. Thank you. And then before we move on, we would like to also thank our sponsors. We'd like to thank our sponsors. So can we present a prize to TCC Steamships, Mr. Jason Ho? Next, we would like to thank Anglo-Eastern, Mr. Niraj Nanda. Pacific Basin, Mr. Ritesh Chandra. Wakwong, Captain Biju Narayanan. Captain Biju. Unique Shipping, Mr. GKV. And Hong Kong Pilots, Captain Chin. Thank you very much. Thank you, Chairman. Now, to close off this evening's seminar, may we invite Mr. Benjamin Wong, Head of Transport, Logistics and Industrials of Invest Hong Kong, to say a few words. Mr. Wong, please.
Thank you. Everybody, everybody, everybody. Who's hungry? I'm very hungry. So listen to me so I can finish so all of you can start dinner, okay? Now, before I came, I was at a meeting, which is not about ships. It's about aviation. It was a meeting with the airport authority, and we've got some figures. Now, for the past 4 months, what market, which country do you think has the highest traveler coming into Hong Kong? Guess. It's not something which come right into your mind. Captain Lam knows, probably, but don't say anything. Come on, give me some guess. No. Very good guess. No. No. Well, long haul market, sorry, I didn't qualify. Long haul market, so, Philippines and mainland China is too close. It's Russia. Russia, the growth of that market, for the past 4 months, growth, right, is about 50 to 60%. Now, one question, if you are a businessman, one question come into your mind would be, what about the sanction, right? How do they deal with the sanction? Now, this traffic, actually, Cathay Pacific is not flying it because of the sanction, so they avoid it. So it's the Russian airline which is flying it. Now, when they arrive in Hong Kong, they need to have services. Ships, you need to have pilots, right? But then when they land in Hong Kong, for example, the cargo handling, the luggage handling, who's doing that? Nobody. How do you deal with it? They bring their own people. So actually, when they travel into Hong Kong, actually Russian airlines bring their own people so that they can do the unloading of luggages, unloading of cargo, everything. So it's only their dealings, right? Now, what it means is that everything, no matter how big is the crisis, you would have a solution. There are smart way, smarter way, and smartest way, right? Now, what I'm driving here is, right now we are in a lot of crisis, but then we have what we have in the panel. We have very good managers, we have very good insurer, and we have very good, did I say manager? Manager, insurer, and of course, very good lawyers. And of course, owners. So, that's how it works together. And Hong Kong, I think the shipping services is actually the forte of our industry. So now everybody go to dinner. Thank you.
Sorry, before we have dinner, I know everyone's going to fall into a hunger crisis very soon. We'd just like to invite our Chairman to say a few words and then we'll be off for dinner. Thank you. So who wants to be first? Dr. Roy?
Okay, we are towards the end of the event, but we have to say Thanksgiving to everyone. So good evening again. As we come to the end of this wonderful event, I would like to take a moment to express our heartfelt thanks. And don't worry, I'll keep it very short. I know everyone is hungry. You are thinking about going home. You are thinking about your beds. All will be done. First and foremost, thank you all our guests, participants, sponsors, and supporters. Your presence has made this event truly special. After all, an event without people is just an expensive rehearsal. A big round of applause to our organizers and both institute members who work tirelessly behind the scenes. While we were enjoying the event, they were probably solving problems too, which we will never know. And that's exactly why they deserve the most appreciation. Thank you. To our MC, moderator, panelists, and contributors, thank you for your inspiring insights. You have given us a lot to think about. Some of us may even remember it tomorrow. I hope so. We are also deeply grateful to our sponsors and partners, including supporting organizations, media partners, hotel staff, photographers, broadcasters, and others. Your support made everything possible, including food and drinks, the entire arrangement, which I am sure many of us will appreciate. Before we wrap up, let's take a moment to thank ourselves as well for staying engaged, participating actively, and not checking our phones too often. And that's a good thing, I hope so. On a serious note, today has been about connection, learning, and shared experiences. We hope you leave here not just with good memories, but with new ideas and meaningful connections. Once again, thank you all for being part of this event. Travel safely, stay happy, and if you enjoyed today, please tell others. If you don't, well, keep it between us. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
I just add on a few words on Dr. Roy's thanking notes. So once again, I want to thank all the sponsors because without the sponsors, we cannot make tonight happen. And also our supporting organizations, as well as our media partner. So may I ask you for applause for Gary? Where's Gary? Gary is here. So Gary is flying all the way from Dalian. So he is very supportive to our events. So hopefully we can have more impact because of his media. And also, I think Claire has made a lot of the arrangement works. So may we have a round of applause for Claire as well.
And also not the only thing. Also, we thank Mr. Avinav Makkar because he was behind the scene. All this broadcasting, online broadcasting, all were taken care of by Avinav. Thank you, Avinav, and well done. And we have a token of appreciation to our MC, Catherine.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Catherine.
So now you are free to go. Enjoy the foods and drinks. Thank you again.
Thank you, everyone. Please enjoy the food and drinks and have a great weekend. Thank you.
Uh, 請海運學會醫師 Executive Committee members of the Institute of Sea Transport, please come to the stage, and we take a group photo. Claire 一齊。Claire 走咗未？Claire 走咗未啊？Claire Brian Van 一齊過嚟影相。Brian Van。喂，岑生。Rosita，我哋嘅 legal advisor。
Okay, now, Nautical Institute members, please.
Yes.
Captain Lam.
Captain Lam. You can't escape.
Biju. Nautical